Hey, what's going on? How you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from drboycecredit.com. I want to talk to you about co-signing for people on loans. A lot of you get people that want to that ask you, hey, your credit's better than mine. Will you co-sign for this for me? I want to get this car. I want to get this house. I want to get this whatever. I don't think co-signing is a good idea. And let me tell you why co-signing is a bad idea. Co-signing is a bad idea because once you're kind of locked in to somebody else financially, it's really hard to get over that hump. Most of the time, I've rarely heard of situations where somebody co-signed for somebody else where it turned out wonderful, turned out okay, it wasn't a problem. And it's not usually because the person deliberately said, I'm going to screw my relative. A lot of times the people that are closest to us are the ones who hurt us. The reason that co-signing ends up not working out is because sometimes you're co-signing for somebody who it has been their own worst enemy. And think about this. Why in the world does somebody need you to co-sign in the first place? Well, the reason people need you to co-sign on a loan, the reason people need you to cover for them is because they haven't been financially responsible. They have very little interest in being financially solvent or financially intelligent. So basically, when somebody comes to you and they say, I need you to co-sign for me, can you help me out? What they're really saying to you is that I don't care about my credit. I have messed up my own credit. I have thrown my own credit into the toilet, and now I need you to get into the toilet with me. And what's effectively going on a lot of times is that the person doesn't know that they're their own worst enemy. They don't realize that it's their own decisions that have put them in that situation. They're not thinking that way. They're thinking that the reason I'm in this situation is because I had some bad luck, a few things went wrong, I did my best and things didn't work out. It's going to get better. And I'm going to tell you what, it's people love taking chances with other people's money. Somebody will always be happy to take any risk if you're paying for it. And so co-signing tends to end up bad, not because your cousin or your mama or your sister, your brother wants to screw you. It usually ends up bad because they've been screwing themselves their whole life, and when you get into bed with them, they're kind of screwing everything within a 100-mile radius. My father has really good credit. My father and my grandmother were very, very responsible financially. When my father's still here, my grandmother, when she was here, rest her soul, she was real responsible when it came to money. And it wasn't about being rich. See, a lot of people think that you're financially good because you're making all this money. That's not true. Being financially good and financially free doesn't mean you make a lot of money. It means that you are spending less than what you make. It means that you are making decisions that are going to protect you financially. It means that you are being thoughtful about your economic choices. It means you're thinking carefully before you take on debt. My grandmother never made more than about $23,000 a year. And she was always the person who had the most money in our family. She would loan money to my relatives, some of whom made as much as $100,000 a year. And I remember thinking, how can this lady who makes this single mom making 22,000 a year, end up loaning money to all these people who are making so much more than her? And it was because of the way she kind of approached money. So one of the things my father used to say is, if somebody came to him and said, hey, I need you to co-sign for me, blah blah blah, and he would pretty much give him the favor, like F you. And he didn't say that. I mean, he said that to me in private, but he said, my thought is like, F you. He said, you've messed up your credit. What makes you think I'm gonna let you come and mess up my credit? And I've also seen some interesting situations. And again, let's just be real about our community. We're a little bit unique in certain ways, good and bad. And I've seen crazy stories. I've seen mamas putting stuff in their baby's name, messing up the baby's credit. And the baby's, how you gonna be 2 years old with bad credit? That don't make no sense, right? You in diapers and you got diapers but no credit, right? I've seen people. I saw an example where one sibling stole another sibling's identity because she wanted, and it was all because she wanted a new cell phone. And so when people talk about identity theft and identity protection, sometimes you got to protect yourself from your own relatives. I even had a relative that tried to do something like that to me, and I was ready to call the police on his ass. And so at the end of the day, what I would just say to you is co-signing for people is a bad idea. Letting people do anything in your name is a bad idea. You letting people get access to your private information, I don't care who they are, is a bad idea. Sometimes the people, and what's really sinister about it is that sometimes the people that hurt you the most are the people that are closest to you. Now, we have a great credit program at drboycecredit.com. The first month is totally free. I encourage everybody, if you're struggling on your credit, do not be afraid. Do not deny it. Do not run away from the credit problem. Do not look the other way. Credit is important. Jay-Z said it in a song. He said, "You want to know one of the most important things in the world," or something like that. He said, "Credit." Y'all know the lyrics. I can't even remember what the lyrics were. It was in his album 444. But he basically was talking about how important credit is, because credit allows you to leverage yourself. Leverage is like a seesaw. So think about a seesaw, and it's basically this thing where you put a weight on one side and the other side goes up. Well, imagine if a heavy weight hits the other side, the thing's going to fly up in the air, right? Well, that's what leverage does. So the ability to get a little bit of debt when you need it for good reasons, not bad debt, not stupid debt. I'm talking about smart debt, like debt for a business or debt for a house. That debt can bounce you up into the stratosphere economically. That debt can help you go from boom, from the bottom to the top. You talk about, you started at the bottom, now we're here. Well, people that are here that started at the bottom, a lot of times they did it because they got leverage, because they protected their credit, and they were able to borrow just enough money to get that business off the ground. I know people like that. I know people who literally had no money at all, but they had some financial literacy training, and they had a great idea. They came up with a great idea, but they had a work ethic to pursue the idea. They had a desire for knowledge to learn how to do the idea right. So it wasn't just about, sort of like, oh, I got this great idea. I got $1 billion idea. There ain't no such thing as $1 billion idea, because all it is something inside your head. Ain't nothing inside your head worth $1 billion until you make it worth $1 billion. Most great ideas go to the graveyard. Most of your greatest dreams and hopes, unfortunately, if you're not careful, will die with you if you don't make a move. If you don't bust a move, then nothing happens. Just like Dame Dash and I, the class that we have was called Intelligent Boss Moves, and I use those three words deliberately: intelligent boss moves, because I said, to be successful as a black person, especially, you got to be intelligent. To really make your own way in this world, you got to be a boss. You can't be a follower. You got to be a leader. And then, in order for your reality to come true, in order for your fantasy or your dream to become a reality, you must make a move. If you don't bust a move, if you don't make a move, then who cares what your idea was, or who cares how smart you could have been, or how great things would have worked out for you. You need to do it. If you don't, you need to make a move. So ultimately, when it comes to your so-called $1 billion idea, you got to turn it into $1 billion reality. So ultimately, protecting your credit can help you with that, because that can help you kind of get access to the resources that you need. And again, I've seen people with good ideas get a tiny loan and flip that into something big. My whole business, or not just one, I have several businesses, but the businesses that have made money, a lot of them started off because I borrowed a little bit of money from myself. I had some money saved up. I had money automatically taken out of my paycheck. And when it came time to bust a move, I went to the bank of Boyce. I couldn't go to Bank of America. Bank of America wouldn't loan me nothing. I went to the Bank of Boyce, and the Bank of Boyce gave me a loan. And I went, because I had some economic intelligence, because I've been studying the game and figuring out what my next move was going to be, I was able to use that leverage to propel me up to the top, or to propel me to the next level. You understand? So it ain't about, sitting back looking at people that got something and saying, oh, well, you look at you got all this and you got all that. A lot of them didn't start there. They bounced up. They had a come up. They had a come up, and the come up didn't come from somebody giving them a come up. The come up came from them typically giving themselves a come up. I'm not talking about everybody. I'm talking about self-made people. And I'm gonna tell you like this: I have sold tens of thousands, probably over 100,000 books. I've never got a book deal. Nobody's ever signed me a contract to sell my books for me. I did it myself. I have reached millions of people through video. I've never had a TV deal. I have reached people, hundreds, millions of people through my articles. I have never had a book deal. I've never had somebody say, "Hey, here's a book deal, or here's a deal for you to write a syndicated article. Here's a radio show. Here's a TV show." I never had that. That never came. So I get offended when I hear people say, "Oh, well, look at you. Somebody hooked you up." Nobody hooked me up, man. You got to hook yourself up. So long story short, That's my 2 cents. I started off talking about credit, but like always, I'll end up talking about it pretty much whatever comes to mind. And I just want to encourage you to move forward, pursue your dreams. Don't be scared. Go hard. Educate yourself. Don't cost you might cost you a lot of money to start a business sometimes, depending on the business you want to go into. Even though there's actually businesses you can start for under $500, but it doesn't cost you hardly nothing to go buy a book, to read a book. You ain't got to pay no money. All you got to do is pay attention. So pay attention. Get on. Use that phone for education. Don't use it just for entertainment, or you'll be entertained to death and spend the rest of your life not getting anything that you want out of life. So anyway, if you want to learn about credit, feel free to check out my credit program. It's at drboycecredit.com. That's drboycecredit.com. The first month is totally free, so you ain't got to pay nothing to get in there and start grabbing the information. Free classes are included with that. We have a lot of bundles, and probably about $250 worth of bundles thrown into the class, and the first month's free. So we're doing everything we can to make it as easy as possible for you to join us over in the Black Business School. Also, if you want to get into a more established program that's been around for a long time that everybody loves, check out theblackwealthbootcamp.com. That's theblackwealthbootcamp.com. So take care, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye. Peace.